Everyone, Joe Axman here, the mediocre astrologer. He's okay. All right. Um, Guys, today I want to do a potentially touchy subject for some people. And I want to come at it with the utmost respect. This is the astrology of gay and bi sexual people, right? It's certainly number one, it is a sensitive topic, obviously. But it's an important one and one that I think needs to be looked at and covered. And I don't, and this is my preface, this is my disclaimer. I don't claim to have all the answers. The main thing for this is to learn, for so that you can learn and that I can learn. And there are some things in astrology that definitely point to somebody being more likely to be gay or bi. It's not definitive. Just because if you have some of these markers doesn't mean don't like be like, oh my God, I'm gay and I didn't even know it. Like if you have something like that, you know what I mean? Any case, guys, I'm not here to insult or offend or judge anyone. So please, nobody get overly, I don't know, sensitive about this subject. This is just pure educational, purely educational. Anyway, I don't think anyone will, but I just need to say that. Share my screen. All right. Gillian Anderson. Okay, like some of these things, like I didn't even know, and like some people might be mildly bisexual, but it's kind of hard to find. Actually, like you think the way that modern woke things are going, you'd think that there are way more gay and bi people in the world, and maybe there are with the younger generations. But if Hollywood is any representation of the masses, Hollywood and music and famous people in general, which I think is generally they are. If anything, there's going to be more gay and bi in like the Hollywood and music and all that famous people, but there's not that many. There really isn't. Like, not that many people are gay. So, like, the whole woke thing where everyone's gay, like like everyone's got to be represented. It's way out of proportion. But hey, anyway, like, don't get offended. That's just my observation. Um, so Gillian Anderson, I think she said something about she had a relationship, so she's probably more like bi, right? And she's uh on X Files, Gillian. She was the woman on X Files, Mulder and Scully. She was Scully. In any case, um, what we're gonna mainly be seeing, looking at, is Mars and Venus. Venus for a woman, Mars for a man. And there's going to be some imbalance there with Mars and Venus, and as well as for a woman, heaviness towards like a masculine energy planets and signs, and for a man, the feminine. He's going to be out of balance, generally speaking. To the opposite in gay and bi. For a woman, they'll have more masculine energies, and for a man, they'll have more feminine energies. All right. So we can already see Venus is in Virgo. That's not good dignity. With Jupiter is also not good dignity. Yeah, there's an opposition to Moon. That's not really doing anything. And I'm not going to break down the whole chart because it'll just take way too long, right? I'm just trying to look for what possibly could make them gay or bi. And the main thing is Venus. Venus at 0 degrees Virgo. That's not Venus and Virgo isn't going to make somebody bisexual necessarily, but here it is. Mars is in the 12th, but it's in Leo, and so Leo's very strong for her. Mars in Leo, Sun's in Leo, Mercury's in Leo, right? So the Sun's in dignity right on the ascendant. So her Mars is pretty strong, even though it's in the 12th. It's in Leo. Venus is not as strong. It can't really express itself well in Virgo. There's no real strong aspect between Mars and Venus. Jupiter also in Virgo, Pluto and Uranus. So I think this Venus is it's not expressing itself very strongly. Also, probably if she moves into her North Node, Mars is more active, and therefore, Saturn also is in Aries, which Mars rules. It's just an imbalance a little bit slightly towards the masculine side of things. Therefore, she's going to be a little more comfortable. Also, women in general tend to be a little bit more comfortable with bisexuality, stuff like that. All right. A lot of these people I had no idea had any gay tendencies or whatever, but I looked it up on a chart, and you know they'll select quotes where the person reveals it about themselves. I'm not outing anyone who's not outed themselves already, so just in case somebody's wondering, you know what I mean. Um, Billy Joe Armstrong apparently is bisexual. Right, he's got a Jupiter Capricorn, so that's interesting. Jupiter's exalted and so it's debilitated right on the ascendant in Capricorn. Let's see here. Mars in Taurus, Venus is in Aries. Oh, there's a mutual reception between Mars and Venus, right? So that kind of that explains a lot. That the signals are getting mixed up. Mars is in Venus's sign, Venus is in Mars sign, so there's like a switching, a switcheroony. Also, Aquarius and Uranus will likely play a role. Gemini can also play a role because it's more neutral. Uranus, Aquarius, these are all both more gender neutral signs as well. I mean, Libra, you could say has a androgynous kind of thing as well going for it. So you might see some of that as well. Okay. But here I think it's the Venus Mars mutual reception and the Aquarius. All right. Drew Barrymore has also talked about being bisexual. And I would have preferred to fill this up with all like just gay, like you know, like Freddie Mercury types, right? Unfortunately, actually, Freddie Mercury, he doesn't have an accurate time of birth. I would have loved to include him, but I did get some other very gay people on here, so let's see here. So Drew Barrymore. Venus is in Pisces with Jupiter. That's very good. And Mars in Capricorn. Wow. So yeah, definitely both ways. I mean, like there's almost a really nice sextile between Mars and Venus, so she can really just go either way. Her Mars is so strong. Mars and Capricorn in the eighth. Um, yeah. So we see that there. Strong Venus, but also very strong Mars. So definitely not afraid of men, but likes her women too. Um, she's very soft and feminine, but that Mars and Capricorn in the eighth house, woo, fierce. All right, Marlon Brando. On this day, my daughter's wedding. I don't know. I'm not good with impressions, but sometimes I like to do them anyway. Um, so Aries, apparently so I read a quote. He had a thing for he had an affair. He had gay affairs apparently, right? And he admitted to that. And apparently he had one with Richard Pryor, and Richard Pryor is like Marlon Brando will fuck anything. He said way more than that, but it was really funny. But Mars in Capricorn, Venus in Taurus, right? So again, this bisexuality, strong Mars, strong Venus, very masculine, but definitely has the ability. Venus is it's close to the descendant. It's in the sixth house, right at the end of Taurus, right? So this is other people, for sure. Mars is also in conjunct Neptune. I wonder about that. Neptune, in any case. Um, Sun's in or Pluto's in Cancer. That's square Moon and Sun. A little wide, but still there. And Pluto's transformational. Well, we'll have a look at that. It's another chart that is interesting. Miley Cyrus. Obviously, Miley Cyrus is so experimental. I mean, she's gonna, you know, have sex with everything at one point, just for the fun of it. So she's got her Mars in Cancer and her Venus in Capricorn, right? They're not opposite by degree, but by sign. Mars debilitated in Cancer. Debilitated Mars in Cancer is violent and sexual, right? And potentially mean. And so we can see that, like, the hypersexuality of Miley Cyrus, very evident. This is Mars in Cancer. Mars is dispositing her Pluto, Moon, Mercury, Pluto, Moon, Mercury. So expressing her heart, Moon, Mercury, Pluto, this real deep intensity in Scorpio. There's that shrine. She's really intense. I don't hate her. I mean, I don't hate her. I know she's wild, crazy, but I don't hate her. There's something very likable about her. In any case, yeah, Venus in Capricorn, um, Mars in Cancer. So yeah, I mean, she's just wild and wants to, you know, go everywhere. She's not overly feminine. She's very scorpionic, right? And watery and deep. Well, I mean, she's all kinds of things, right? Venus is her ascendant lord. It's She's funny too. That's really interesting. Venus is her ascendant lord conjunct Uranus and Neptune in Capricorn in the ninth. Philosophical. Um, yeah, materialistic. Um, but Venus conjunct Uranus is quite ascendant lord conjunct Uranus is going to be very shocking, right? Original, unique. Anyways, Neptune, highly creative. James Dean, he's a really good example. James Dean was clearly bisexual, and you can see this. Mars and Venus are in conjunct, right? Mars and Leo, Venus is in Capricorn. Both are strong, but there's really just like tension. They're not coming together, right? It's either one or the other. So he's either being gay or being straight, right? Going back and forth. And here's the rebel without a cause, Uranus conjunct descendant, but it's not retrograde like mine. He's not that. He's just like kind of a screen rebel, right? Not truly, although he was pretty rebellious, I guess. In some ways. Ellen DeGenerate. She is lesbian, real full time, honest to God lesbian. Because I think like especially nowadays, like some celebrities will be like, "Oh yeah, I'm totally bi or gender fluid," but it's really just like just because it's trendy or hip or whatever, which is ridiculous, stupid. Like, I would never do that. But clearly, Mars Saturn MC conjunction, that's very masculine. Mars and Saturn together, right? Because, like I've said before, Saturn is the ruler, the lord of Mars' sign of exaltation, which is Capricorn. Um, Saturn strengthens Mars. Mars does not strengthen Saturn because Saturn then it's like Saturn in Aries. But if you imagine Mars to be pure energy, right? I liken it to like a bullet. You take some gunpowder, put it in a metal casing, and then you put it in a gun. A bullet on its own, you can smash it with a hammer, it'll explode, but it's not really going to do much more than that. It's unfocused. You put it in a gun, which is Saturn. Now you have something very dangerous. And I hear Ellen DeGeneres behind the screen where she's all nicey nice, like, kind of like all these ridiculous people. She's a holy terror, right? And that's this Mars Saturn conjunction. I have Mars and Saturn 11 degrees apart. Mars is my ascendant lord in Leo in the 10th, 9th, 10th house. I mean, but 10th whole sign house. And I can be a holy terror, but I don't hide it. Right? I mean, you see it. I can be pretty aggressive even here on my YouTube channel. But yeah, this is very intense. Venus and Aquarius conjunct the sun. It's not very feminine. It's opposite Uranus, so there's humor here for her. Also like, I mean, Uranus is retrograde, but let's see. Jupiter's her ascendant lord's in Scorpio. She's actually pretty dark. Her ascendant lord's conjunct Neptune. That's great for being on screen, acting. Because Neptune, it's you know, um, illusion, fantasy, movies, cinema, all that. But yeah, a lot of red here. Moon in Aries, so she's pretty tough. pretty aggressive. So definitely an imbalance towards the masculine side of things. Nothing tremendous, nothing very feminine or soft. I mean, Pisces ascendant, yeah, but right away we're going into Scorpio. Well, Neptune is nice. Neptune is a little bit soft. So, but everything else is like either hard or just kind of neutral. Androgynous, right? Sun, Venus, Chiron opposite Uranus. That's very androgynous. Gaga lady. There was some controversy about her time of birth, so it's like I don't fully trust this, but whatever. It is what it is. Maybe it's right, maybe it's not. Um, let's see. Gaga, Miss Gaga lady has made um comments about being bisexual and whatnot. Venus in Aries, Mars in Capricorn. I mean, do we need to say anything else? Her Venus is ruled by Mars. Her Mars is exalted. Um, yeah. So Jupiter conjunct the MC along with Mercury in Pisces. Mercury's our ascendant lord. For ascendant lord, Mercury is not in good dignity, but it's helped by Jupiter. So exalted sun. Anyway. Another moon Pluto, right? In Scorpio, Miley Cyrus. Very intense, deep, like people. Is moon Pluto, South Node is Scorpio. Crazy. It's too much, too intense. Georgie boy George. Venus in Taurus conjunct the ascendant. Now I'm just going to take a moment to mention a pet peeve, which a lot of amateur astrologers will do. They'll look at a planet, and if it's like 1 degree shy of whatever system that person chose to use, they'll be like, "Oh, it's in the house before. It's in the format. Oh, this Venus is in the 12th house. Oh, this Uranus is in the fourth house." And I'm exaggerating because these are even further than sometimes I see where they do it. No, if a planet is really close to the cusp of the following house in the same whole sign house, definitely has more influence on the following house. Okay. So yeah, Venus, you could say here a few degrees that Venus is definitely bringing in 12th house elements, but it's very much strongly influencing the first house. Mars is in Aries, but Mars is conjunct Uranus, or sorry, Leo. So Uranus is androgynous. So definitely, and then Neptune, Venus is opposite Neptune. Um, that definitely feels much more feminine to me, right? And especially being conjunct the ascendant. Um, Neptune, although not specifically feminine, I feel like it definitely has strong femininity. Venus and Moon, of course, are very feminine. And then Moon's in Cancer, Mercury's in Cancer. Mercury's stationary, by the way. Mercury's the second lord, station in the third house. So Mercury is actually the second and third cusp. Sun in Gemini, in the second, moving into the third. Anyway, boy George. My stepmother met Boy George, and so did my step uncle. They know him. More than just met him, they cooked for him or counseled him, cooked for him. Anyway, Alec Guinness. This is Obi-Wan Kenobi, Mr. Obi-Wan Kenobi, the actor who played Obi-Wan Kenobi. Known to be, I can't remember, bisexual or gay, but so Venus in Aries, Mars in Cancer. So weakened Mars, not always Mars, obviously Mars in Cancer is not necessarily going to make somebody gay. It can make somebody very not gay, but I mean, they're very hetero people with Mars and Cancer, but Venus in the first. I mean, obviously Sun in Aries, conjunct the ascendant. That's excellent, super strong, right? Same position as Bach, pretty much. And then North Node in the 12th with, so these Pisces is influence is very artistic, right? Movie, cinema, and Mercury in Pisces. Not in good dignity, but Pisces nonetheless. Any case, Venus is strong. Venus is much stronger than Mars. Venus is not strong in Aries, but it's more masculine. See, like both are in poor dignity, but at least it's in the first house, and at least Sun is exalted along with the ascendant here. And this Mars is conjunct Neptune in Cancer. Moon is conjunct Pluto. That's deeply transformational and very intense too. So yeah, and Pisces I feel is quite feminine. Definitely will bring a person towards that side of things, to that side of things. Mars is also his ascendant lord in Cancer, which is not great. But okay, anyway. I hope this is all making sense to you. So far, everyone has, had an imbalance with their masculine, feminine energies, Mars, Venus, which is pretty obvious. Here we have Joan Jett. Joan Jett has made pretty strong allusions to being gay. So at least bisexual, if not completely gay. And I love her. I think she's great. She makes, she's really hot and sexy, and even if she is a lesbian, also like punk rock, But very strong Virgo. So Venus is in Virgo. Capricorn ascendant. That also, so very earthy, right? Mars in Gemini, 0 degrees. Venus, both ruled by Mercury, right? And Mercury's in Virgo, exalted, right? So yeah, I think Capricorn ascendant, and then Saturn ascendant square Venus. So that's going to be, Mercury too, ascendant square, ascendant Lord, Saturn is Sag, square the Venus. So the Venus is having a hard time because it's in Virgo, it's square Saturn, the ascendant Lord. So she's not very comfortable with Venus, right? She's much more comfortable with Mars, with Mercury, with Saturn. Ascendant Lord, MC Lord is Mars. Jupiter and Neptune disposited by Mars. Mars is trine Moon and Sun. That's part of the grand trine. So Mars is much more comfortable planet for her than Venus. Mars is exalted in Capricorn, her ascendant sign. So, right, okay, she's more Mars. Venus is not doing so good for Joan Jett. Elton John, truly a gay man, if there ever was a gay man. Hard to be more gay than Elton John. Just, I think Freddie Mercury really tried, and who knows whether he did or not, but maybe. Aries Sun, Taurus Moon. He's a great songwriter. Nobody can deny that. And then we get Mars conjunct Mercury in Pisces, and then Venus in Aquarius. Gotta, Aquarius. Gotta realize that. Also, Uranus on the descendant. So it's right opposite the ascendant. It's still influencing the ascendant, Uranus. Uranus is very androgynous, right? I have Uranus on the ascendant. Unfortunately, I was about to say, fortunately, my Mars is very strong. I'm fully hetero. But I have nothing wrong with gay. My sister's gay. Well, we'll look at her chart. So yeah, Mars. So Mars is in Pisces. Not that Mars in Pisces is necessarily gonna make somebody gay. It won't. But let's see here. Ascendant Lord Jupiter in Scorpio, disposited by Mars in Pisces. Mars Jupiter mutual reception. Yeah. And then Venus is in Saturn. Saturn's retrograde. Saturn's in Leo. So obviously you can tell I haven't looked at these in advance in great detail, some of these charts, like Elton John. Does have a grand fire trine. That's really nice. Yeah, this Mars just, there's too much. There's Mercury and Mars, and it's just not strong enough. It is square the ascendant, square Uranus. So that's gonna be a big issue with it. Um, Conjunct the debilitated Mercury, sesquisquare Saturn. Um, yeah, this Venus is just stronger. Moon and Venus sign. Venus is in Saturn. Venus is the MC Lord. So yeah, Venus is just stronger. This Mars is pretty weak, pathetic. All right. Let's keep going. Demi Lovato. I've never seen anything with Demi Lovato or heard a single. Couldn't tell you a single thing she's done. I just know that she was pretty and feminine, and then she went to being butch and masculine. But she's got a very creative ascendant with Leo, Mercury, Chiron, Sun. And then Venus is in poor dignity with Jupiter in the second house, both in poor dignity. Mars and Gemini in the 11th house. So Mars is in better dignity than Venus, right? And Mars and Venus are square each other. Neither one doing anything for each other signs, so it's not very harmful there. Mars is in conjunct Neptune and Uranus. That as well is going to bring androgyny, but it's also trine Venus, right? She's got a lot right around the same degree, the middle 16 degrees, right? That are all influencing each other. Really interesting. Any case, Neptune in conjunct Mars, Neptune trine Venus. So in any case, you can see an imbalance between Venus and Mars. Mars seems to be stronger. Well, Venus is ruling the MC. It's just not good dignity. It doesn't function very well here. Mars is fine in Gemini. So I think just because Mars is in a little bit better dignity than Venus, that it is let's see, North Node Sag. Yeah, I mean it could also be North Node Sag, just slightly, picking up the fiery nature of Mars more. So anyway. Definitely an imbalance with Venus and Mars. Mars is slightly stronger. Michelangelo. Michelangelo was not like he didn't officially come out gay, but he wrote a lot of gay poems. A lot of homoerotic poems that were very unusual and controversial for the times. All right. I mean, first of all, his artistic genius is right here. This stationary Venus in Aries trying the ascendant fourth house, right? Sculpture, and he did paint. Obviously, he's got a very packed third house as well, but sculpture and architecture were his two things that he loved, that he was the best at. Yeah, also painting. I mean, very strong Pisces stellium, if you want to call it that, with Moon, Mars, Sun. So Venus obviously is stronger. Venus is his strongest planet, stationary, right? So it doesn't, and it's his MC Lord and dispositor of the North Node. So clearly, very strong Venus. Mars and Pisces can bust the Sun, not so much. Right? That's pretty obvious. Let's keep going. This video is obviously going to be shorter than some of them because it's just really not that. It doesn't take that long to point out the Mars Venus imbalance with gay and bi people. Frank Ocean. I really don't know anything that Frank Ocean has sung, but apparently he's pretty popular. Very strong Scorpio stellium right in the first house. Well, when I say strong, I just mean a lot of planets. Mars is not here, but Pluto is. So yeah, Pluto. Venus, not so much, for strength in the first house. But so Mars, so what's really interesting, that Mars and Venus is sign, Venus is Mars. So mutual reception with Mars and Venus. Boom. There you go. It really doesn't take a lot. I mean, it's, to figure out that somebody might be gay. If Mars and Venus, you look at Mars and Venus, and that's the main thing. It's not the only thing, but that'll tell you a lot about a person's sexuality. And if they're having Mars and Venus crisscrossing, that could mean they're crisscrossing too. Aubry Plaza. She has a funny name. Her face is like instantly recognizable, but her name is instantly forgettable. Like I think, probably most people have no idea who Aubry Plaza is, but if you saw her face, you'd be like, oh yeah, that girl. She's in a lot of TV shows, and you can look her up. I'm not gonna show her because I'm just not. I don't care. But let's see, Venus, Mars in Scorpio, Venus is in Cancer. So her Mars is strong. Mars conjunct Saturn in Scorpio. I mean, we really don't need to say anything else. South Node Uranus, that might be interesting. Not necessarily. That's not gonna make somebody gay. That can make a lot of different things. But Uranus is androgynous. So is Mercury. So Venus is fine. Mars really strong. It's in domicile and conjunct Saturn. So in the fourth house. So yeah, don't go to Aubry Plaza's house unless you want really aggressive sex with her leading the way. I guess that's probably more of a sales pitch than anything. But anyway. Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor was a very funny man, and apparently had an affair with Marlon Brando. So definitely swung both ways. Mars and Venus in Scorpio and Mercury in the eighth house. So he just wanted to have sex with everything. I think Richard Pryor was talking about himself when he was talking about Marlon. Maybe they both do. Maybe they both want to. Maybe both Marlon Brando, and Richard Pryor just want to have sex with everything because I mean Mars conjunct Venus in Scorpio in the eighth house. Like that's super passionate and hot, and it's just like, wow, interesting. Again, this does not dictate somebody's looks. I don't think he's classically like really good looking. Like I'm not a guy, I'm not attracted to guys, but he just doesn't seem like I don't think girls were dropping dead over like, you know. But his energy, his sexuality was very, very potent. I can tell with this, right? And then Uranus is pretty much opposite Mercury, and that's where the humor comes from. Uranus also conjunct the third house cusp. Yeah. So Uranus, Mercury. Uranus is very funny, usually. Alrighty. He had a nasty drug habit too, and I think a lot of that is coming from this. And Mercury also opposite Uranus. Alrighty. That's Richard Pryor, Raven Simone. Either gay or bi. I can't remember whether she's fully gay or just partially gay. Does it really matter? I guess. I don't know. Whatever. Mars in the first house in Libra. So Mars is not in good dignity in Libra. It's the seventh floor in the first. But it is Mars in the first. And Venus is in Sag. Squashed in between Saturn and Uranus. So that Venus is not so hot because Saturn is controlling it. Uranus is defeminizing it. Both Saturn and Uranus are both defeminizing it. Draining her femininity. I guess you could say. Moon in Scorpio, also not super, you know, well, I mean, Scorpio is quite feminine, but has a masculine side too. Anyway, uh, main thing is Mars in the first house. She's very Scorpionic, very Sagittarian, very first, second D house. So speaking, you know, she does the talk show. She was in TV, and yeah, South Node Pluto Scorpio, very intense. Also, Pluto. Let's not forget Pluto is transformational. So anything with Pluto can change a person over time. Kristen Stewart. I don't know how gay she is, but she said she's, you know, bi or whatever. Um, Venus and Pisces, Mars conjunct the MC and North Node. Mars conjunct the North Node, and anything conjunct the North Node is going to grow, especially as the person gets older. So her Venus is there. Her Venus is very strong. It's trying Jupiter, exalted Venus trying exalted Jupiter. That's excellent. Kidding me? Exalted Sun. Whew. Mars or Saturn in Capricorn. I mean, this girl, Pluto in Scorpio. I mean, she's got a really strong chart. Moon is square Neptune and Uranus, so definitely has some mental imbalances there. Um, Tied to Chiron as well. Definitely some issues, but very strong chart. North Node conjunct Mars is why she can go both ways, most likely. Also, Venus and Pisces is kind of all embracing, right? Venus and Pisces is very feminine, but it's just all embracing love. So she's gonna embrace everyone, men and women. John Travolta. John Travolta. He was rumored to be gay for a long time, and I think he finally came out, or it was confirmed in some way. But look at his chart, man. It's like so red, all red, red, red. Like a lot of conflict. But South Node Uranus, Cancer ascendant, right? And then Venus in Pisces, right? Venus in Pisces with Mars and Sag. Venus is obvious, and then Mars is sesquisquare Venus. So that's a square and a half. No, it's just a square. Sorry, my bad. I was looking at, yeah, I was looking at the sorry. Square. Mars square Venus. Venus very strong, exalted in the eighth house. So secret love affairs. He wants to keep his gay love a secret, but he couldn't. Sun's there, Mercury's there. Sun exposes it. Mercury wants to talk about it. We couldn't keep it there forever. Yes, Mercury squared Jupiter, and that's a mutual reception, a really strong one because it's both by degree. There's a square, but still very strong. Yeah. I mean, that's really obvious. Exalted Venus in the eighth house, secret gay love with um square Mars. Exactly. Anyway, interesting. Naomi Waxman. This is my sister who is in an openly gay relationship. She was married. Um, she she considers herself bisexual, but yeah. Mars, Saturn, Moon in Leo, Venus and Gemini. Her Mars is way stronger, right? And also her Moon is kind of not very feminine either because it's conjunct Mars and Saturn in the eighth house. Hidden, secret, right? So she didn't even know she was gay or bi until recently, until a few years ago. This Mars is also square Uranus, exact. Um, Mars rules Scorpio, but Uranus is androgynous. Interesting. Definitely a stronger Mars than Venus. Venus is not really doing anything here in Gemini. I mean, it's fine. It's neutral. It's opposite Neptune. That's interesting. But it's just the Mars and Saturn moon. Walt Whitman. Walt Whitman definitely went both ways. Um, Mars in Aries, Venus in Taurus. So very strong, very masculine, but very strong feminine as well, femininity. South node, Venus, Libra, North node, Mars, Mars. Um, I'm just looking, very strong Pisces as well. And Pisces will be the other element, and then Jupiter and Aquarius. Aquarius. Um, so Pisces will be the another thing that will be a little bit more feminizing for a man. Uh, and then a strong Venus, of course. And there's this Mars is trine Uranus and Neptune in Sag. So that also Neptune can be a bit more feminine, Uranus androgynous, and Pluto transformation. Yeah. Oscar Wilde, I think he was pretty gay, and he lived a short life, and he was involved in a lot of controversy. But he was a writer, for those who don't know. Very strong Venus in Libra. So Venus is strong, Sun is not strong. Mars is in Sag. Mars in Sag is fine. Venus in Libra is much stronger, obviously. And then what else? We see a North Node conjunct Uranus. Pluto is not too far away. And Ascendant Lord in Scorpio with South Node. That's Ascendant Lord trine Neptune in Pisces. So that would be feminizing for a man. But you can see he's got a grand Earth trine. And there's this water, one leg of a water trine, grand trine, just a trine. Neptune is in domicile in Pisces. This is the Ascendant Lord. So yeah, just very strong Venus. Is there a relationship to Mars? No, no real relationship to Mars. Sun in conjunct Neptune, Moon in conjunct Chiron. Um, he wrote Dorian Gray. I don't know if you ever watched that movie or saw it. Mercury is opposite Uranus. That's interesting. Definitely a sense of humor there. Um, Kind of a weird, creepy movie. But the main character in Dorian Gray was bisexual, definitely. All right, Lil Nas X, young rapper, artist, musical artist. He did Old Town Road. He did it right after Uranus moved into Taurus. I know that because I said before Uranus moved into Taurus, I said country music is going to come back. Uranus was in Pisces or in Aries, sorry, and I said country music is going to make a return. And a lot of people were laughing and they're like, I hope not. Country music made a return. It's still making a return. Um, Try that in a small town. Anyway, very controversial. Venus in Taurus, Mars in Scorpio. So that's definitely gonna be more bisexual, right? Not completely gay. I don't know if he's completely gay or not. The South Node Uranus in Aquarius, so definitely something in the eighth house. So definitely, there's a queer factor. Aquarius and queer, Aquarius and Aquarius, it's kind of the same thing. Like Aquarius definitely can, not will, can, lend itself towards that sort of thing. It's gender neutral, really. So we do have Mercury in Pisces. That's gonna be a bit more feminine. That's sesquisquare Mars. Scorpio being so sexual, I think would have a tendency also to be flexible. Not so much Aries. Aries, I don't think is very flexible in that way. Venus, a strong Venus for man. Venus is trine Moon, so Moon's in Capricorn. This guy, I would suspect that he's bi. Moon is the ascendant lord. It's in Capricorn. Eek. He's either helping people or hurting people. I don't know enough about him to say, but that's a combination because this is him. You have to realize the ascendant lord represents the person themselves. So even though it's the moon, you might, well, just Moon in Capricorn, that's not gonna hurt anyone. Well, it can, because that's actually him, and it's just how he goes about doing that. But it can also help sick people. But in any case, he's gonna attract a lot of bad relationships. Truth. Uh yeah, and then probably this Venus trine Moon in Capricorn is maybe why he tends to opt towards same-sex relationships. The Moon's in the seventh, that's him. Trine Venus in Taurus. It's also Saturn in Taurus. Anyway. Okay, I think that's it for the list. It was actually a little bit harder to find truly gay people than any of the other categories I found so far. So that's it. I hope I made it clear. I think it's pretty obvious that the relationship between Mars and Venus generally, mostly, will describe a person's sexuality, right? And if a man has a strong Venus, he might be gay or bi. If a woman has a strong Mars, she might be gay or bi. Stronger than the Venus, right? If they're both strong or in some weird aspect to each other, then it could be bi. Alrighty. Guys, don't, please, nobody be offended by this. I'm perfectly accepting of oh wait, there was one more. Hold on. I think I didn't put this in my chart. I forgot. But Lily Wachowski is, wait a minute. Hold on. I have to share my screen. All right. Lily Wachowski is one of the um brothers, the Wachowski brothers, who created The Matrix, right? Um, yeah, and I forgot to put this. I was going to put this was going to be the last person, but both brothers became transgender, right? So I'm not a fan of transgenderism. I don't want to insult anyone. I'm not a fan. I think it's artificial construct that has no basis in reality. Not that men can't be feminine or women can't be masculine. It's the needing to take drugs and having operations that I object to. That's my opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. You can have your opinion. But in any case, I wanted to look at the astrology. So let me expand this a little bit. So Mars is the ascendant lord. Mars is in Aquarius. I'm calling it Aquarius for this video because it seems relevant, obviously. And Venus is in Scorpio. Venus is in Scorpio with Neptune. Mars is perfectly in conjunct Pluto. So Pluto is transformational, right? Uranus, also androgynous. But this Pluto, Mars is the ascendant lord. Mars is the person. Mars is the body. Mars in conjunct Pluto. Mars in Aquarius, gender neutral sign, Aquarius, is being transformed by Pluto. Venus is in Neptune in the first house. So Venus is influencing the body, as so is Neptune. Right? And then Pluto and Mars are both the co-rulers, and they're in conjunct each other. Pluto is transformational. So Uranus is radical and gender neutral, and it's influencing that. So both Uranus and Pluto are influencing this Mars in Aquarius, and then Venus and Neptune in the first house, making this person more feminine. So yeah, the person is being transformed by Pluto, and they're already more feminine. All right. So I think that's pretty clear. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this. And don't forget to hit like button, subscribe, share. Book a reading with me. You can email me at macrogomachine@yahoo.com and leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think. But nobody get pissy. Just like, I don't have time for that. And yeah, that's it. All right. I'll see you guys soon. All right. Thanks. Bye.